Hello and welcome to Broken Entertainment. So today we're going to talk about what happens when you love a franchise, when you are working on a franchise and put all of your effort and your love for it into your work, and how that changes how it's perceived, how it's received from the audience, and how it turns into money and viewership or readership. Now, on the one hand, we have The Mandalorian Season 2 finale claiming the top spot on the Nielson ratings for streaming services. Huge deal. On the other hand, we have the first High Republic novel debuting on the New York Times bestseller list. Sounds like a huge deal, but we'll get into that. But first, I want to start with The Mandalorian Season 2, because this is huge news, and this is what happens when you listen to the fans, when you respect the fans, when you love the franchise, when you have passion for your work. Nielsen's latest batch of ratings indicate that Star Wars The Mandalorian has just made history when it comes to tracking the performance of streaming television series. While the top spot has always been for a Netflix-produced or Netflix-hosted program, the second season finale of the Disney Plus series is the first to take the number one rating spot away from the streaming giant. Already a big deal. They've already broken past Netflix, which is almost impossible to do. As they say here, hasn't been done before. Latest numbers report from The Hollywood Reporter has indicated that Peyton Reed's crowd-pleasing season finale, featuring an unexpected and entirely welcome appearance from Luke Skywalker, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, in his prime, helped push The Mandalorian to become the most watched streaming television series in the week that it premiered. Not only that, but it was the most watched show period at 1.34 billion minutes streamed from the 16 episodes currently released. That's huge. Think about 1.34 billion minutes. 16 episodes. Think about all the rewatches that is. That's not people watching it all the way through one time. That's going back over and over and over again. In previous weeks, The Office usually took the top spot due to its length, 201 episodes. Furthermore, there was an increased interest in the series before it left Netflix for Peacock, a newer streaming service with fewer subscribers. However, it came in a close second with 1.31 billion minutes streamed in a week. So, The Mandalorian, made by two people who absolutely adore Star Wars, making decisions that the fans love, like bringing back Boba Fett, like bringing back Luke Skywalker as a hope symbol and not a depressed old man. With 16 episodes, beat out a show with 201. It's hard for me to emphasize enough how huge that is. I mean, think about those episodes. Okay, so they're on average between 20 and 40 minutes long. So one person, let's give it the benefit, we'll call it 30 minutes just to average it out. 480 minutes. Okay. The Office, I don't actually know how long The Office is. I want to say it was 40 minutes. Let's say it's 40 minutes. $8,000 minutes. The difference between those is huge. And I'm not taking anything away from The Office. People love The Office. But these level of rewatches to get to this number is incredible. In other words, the average episode of The Mandalorian was watched many more times than the average episode of a series with a backlog of hundreds of episodes, which we just went over. That's no small feat for a streaming service with less than half of Netflix's subscriber base. Quite a finish to a show that's been in the top 10 for all 8 weeks that had new episodes. Think about that. That 1.3 billion minute figure nearly doubles the third most watched show of the period measured, The Crown, which is 40 episodes and had 772 million streamed in the week observed. That's gigantic. Netflix, of course, retained the remaining 9 spots. Blah, blah, blah. That's what happens when you treat the fans right. That's what happens when you love what you're doing, when you have passion for your work, because love and passion for your work translates directly into the work. It informs its quality, and it shows on the screen. When you watch The Mandalorian, it's not the most amazing show ever put together in the history of the world, but it's Star Wars on TV, and it's Star Wars on TV in the way the fans have been wanting it for so long. And then to pull off that coup of having Luke Skywalker come in, save the day as Luke Skywalker, not as whoever he was in The Last Jedi, depressed old man, not as somebody who's run away from the galaxy, but as a guy who, when asked to go in against difficult odds and win, didn't whine and complain, picked up his damn lightsaber and went and did it. That's what you get. Now, we've gone over in previous videos the difference with the High Republic, where you have an author of the High Republic who doesn't care if she's writing for Star Wars or working in Amazon. And a comic writer of the High Republic who doesn't know how lightsabers work. They don't care at the High Republic. Now, if you go over here, it says, it sounds like it's contradicting me, right? Star Wars Light of the Jedi tops New York Times bestseller list as the High Republic line begins. Sounds great. New York Times bestseller list, right? Big deal. That means you've made it, right? Theoretically, it means you're super popular. Everyone's buying the book. Not so fast. So this article is from The Entrepreneur, how bestseller lists actually work and how to get on them. One of the most common questions we get at my publishing company, Book in a Box, is this: how do I get my book on a bestseller list? Our answer: you probably don't want to be on one. We encourage our authors not to chase bestseller lists, but instead focus on their business goals for their book. This confuses them initially. Once we explain the process and trade-offs, the overwhelming majority discard the bestseller dream and focus more on the business goals that are more impactful for them. Why every bestseller list is a lie. Every bestseller list is a lie because no bestseller list measures the best-selling books. Every single bestseller list either measures a limited number of sales in a few places, or far worse, it's a curated list, and a small group of people are deciding what to put on their list, and they're picking books based on what they think are important, not on what is actually selling. When questioned about the practice of deciding what books are appropriate to get bestseller status, an old-school newspaper editor said they did not want to promote books that were sewer-written by dirty-fingered authors for dirty-minded readers. This person, when quoted, was talking about Henry Miller and Harold Robbins, now widely considered titans of modern literature. But that attitude is still prevalent today and still infects how most editors think about books. The most important bestseller list is the New York Times, and they are the worst culprit at this curated elitism. They readily admit it. Let's take a look. From the New York Times. Rankings reflect unit sales reported on a confidential basis by vendors offering a wide range of general interest titles published in the United States. Every week, thousands of diverse selling locations report their actual sales on hundreds of thousands of individual titles. The panel of reporting retailers is comprehensive and reflects sales. The book-selling universe is comprised of well-established vendors as well as emerging ones. They just kind of go into deep background here. Ebook rankings reflect sales from leading online vendors of an ebook, so like Amazon, etc. The appearance of a ranked title reflects the fact that sales data from the reporting vendors has provided to the New York Times has satisfied commonly accepted industry standards of universal identification. All identities, anecdotal, contextual, and other information about the retail sales of any title, blah, blah, blah. Defines sales. This is kind of crappy at the New York Times. Let's see. Sales are statistically weighted to represent and accurately reflect all outlets proportionally nationwide. Publishers and vendors of all ranked titles must conform in a timely fashion to the New York Times bestseller list requirement. The New York Times bestsellers are compiled and archived by the bestseller list desk of the New York Times News Department and are separate from editorial and cultural. If you are a book retailer interested in reporting your store's weekly sales. So this goes into a bunch of gobbledygook and doesn't actually tell you anything. So we'll go back to this. They readily admit their list is only reflective of books that are selling in a certain number of bookstores and online retailers around the country, not an actual bestseller list. You know why they had to admit this publicly? They were sued about it. For most of the 20th century, they pretended to use a scientific method to count book sales and claimed their list was authoritative and accurate. And then William Blakely wrote a novel called The Exorcist, which has sold 10 million copies and is a famous movie. It sold more than enough copies to be high on the bestseller list for a long time, but initially did not appear. He claimed the New York Times was intentionally excluding it for editorial reasons. The book was considered very controversial at the time, and claimed their decision was costing him millions of dollars. He lost the case. Why? Because the New York Times defense was that the list did not purport to be an objective compilation of information, but was instead an editorial product. It's an opinion piece. The valid legal argument also means the New York Times admitted their bestseller list is just a popularity contest and they select who they will and won't put in the cool kids club. You can see this clearly if you have access to Nielson BookScan, which is the database that tracks paid sales covering about 70 to 80% of book outlets. So, here's the thing. Why would the High Republic make the New York Times bestseller list? Because Disney has a buttload of money, and at least a faction of Disney wants to see the High Republic dramatically succeed over the Mandalorian, because the Mandalorian doesn't promote the agenda that Kathleen Kennedy and the people in the High Republic are trying to promote. We know from pictures that they released of their own storyboard that the High Republic has little to do with Star Wars and everything to do with identity, politics, and agenda. We know from what we've seen so far, comic book authors don't know how the lore works. Very basic stuff. We know at least one author who says, don't buy this because if you don't agree with my politics because I've filled the books with them. And who doesn't care if they're an author or working at Starbucks. So the difference is, this is fake. You can't fake this. You cannot fake topping the Nielsen ratings. That's what respecting the fans and the lore gets you. That's what loving what you do gets you. The reason the best authors are always ones who love what they do is because that shows in their work. And they respect the people buying their books. Someone like Brandon Sanderson or Stephen King or Tolkien would never say, don't buy my books if you don't like my politics. Because they want to entertain. They want people to see their love. They want people to see this product they've worked so hard on. And they would never, ever go there. So when you see this news that it's made the bestseller list, hold on to that. Because you're going to see it fall off. This is a big promotion to get it going. But they're not going to push every book. And The Mandalorian, in the meantime, you think Season 2's big? Wait until they hit Season 3. Because now they've built a huge audience of people that love this show. And they've pulled off this huge coup with Luke Skywalker. People are going to tune in just to see what's going to happen. Wait until the Ahsoka series comes out. When you are a creator, show your love, show your respect, show your passion in your work, and it will sell. Absolutely. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. Ring the bell for notifications, and I will see you next time.